د زمری څلرویشتمه د افغانستان د تاریخ له زرینو بابونو څخه ده چې په دې ورځ د افغانستان د مجاهد ملت مبارزو قربانیو سرښندنو رنګ راوړ. د دې ورځې یادونه له دې امله هم مهمه ده چې راتلونکي نسلونه ترې د ازادۍ، استقلال او خپلواکۍ درسونه زده کړي.
نړیوالو دپاره موږ دا پیغام دی چې دوی دې په دې باندې ډېر تغیرېږي نه چې موږ نه ازادي اخیستې وه، موږ د دې نه ازادي واخیسته، خو په مقابل کې یې محاسبه نه ورسره کوي. یو ښه فرصت هم ورته برابر کړی دی، ښه اراده ورته لري چې موږ سره د افغانستان په بیا پرمختګ کارو کې دی لکه څرنګه چې په اشغال کې همکاري کوله، په پرمختګ کې هم همکاري وکړي.
Greetings to you who are listening. This message is concerning the law on blessings. I'll be doing a series so that we can be familiar with the laws on blessings. For the Creator has mentioned to our ancestors, if we would keep His law, then we would experience the blessings and the goodness that will come as a result of keeping those laws. And the laws meaning or referring to the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments. If we were to observe these laws, then our days shall be long, and we shall inherit the land that was promised to our ancestors. And not defile it. Before I go further, I want to say that the children of Israel or YASHAREL are those who are African melanated people. African melanated people that lives in the continent of Africa, and as well Africans that are spread in different parts of the earth due to slavery. Also, they have been colonized by British and French influence. Those who are African and are listening to this message, you would know who I'm referring to. And not all Africans are Israelites or of the children of Israel. Those who are considered Bantu, or those who are of the Niger Congo people, they are the children of Israel or YASHAREL. So when I say Israelite, Yisrael, or YASHAREL, this is who I'm referring to. Not people, not Khazarian people or Germanic people who have adopted the religion or the tradition of the true or the ancient Israelites who were doing the authentic worship and came to the land via a declaration after the Holocaust. I'm not referring to those people. For those people are imposters, and they are not the real Israelites. But I'm referring to those of the African people who have the Bantu group and the Niger Congo group that lives in Africa and are spread abroad. This is who I'm referring to. And to go further, as I was saying, the Israelites, the children of Israel or YASHAREL, they were given laws that if they abide in it, then the blessings and goodness and prosperity shall come upon them. One of it I want to focus on is defense. Defense is a major part of these blessings. For the Creator, the Supreme Being, promise the children of YASHAREL that no enemies would be able to rise against them and conquer or be successful. So as I'm reading this, as I'm mentioning this to you, I'm also going to read a verse as well in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1 to 5. Now here's what it says. It says, if we hearken or listen to obey the Creator or the Most High, to keep His commandments, His statutes and judgments, which are the laws, then blessings will overtake us. Yes, blessings will overtake us. Many of you know what blessings are. Many of you are familiar with what blessings are. When you go to those in the world, after you labor and you get a reward from your employer, you call it a blessing. When you are able to purchase a car, you call it a blessing. When you have a big house that you could live in, you call it a blessing. This is blessings for people in the world. So I'm bringing an example. But what the Creator blesses us with is far greater. And even it's more rich in terms of what it presents. It's essential. Right? Now I'm going to come to the point that I'm trying to get at. And the point I'm trying to get at is what the Creator has promised us concerning defense. For in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 7, it does explain that the Creator, the Supreme Being, shall cause our enemies to rise up against us. They shall what? They shall come in one way and they shall flee several ways. This is what the Most High or the Creator has promised us. If our enemies rise against us, they will come and they will flee several ways. Yes, they will not be able to stand against us. Now what's happening here? It's very essential to know, because a lot of us believe that our enemies, when I say our enemies, I'm talking about the nations who disregards the Creator, the nations that has no regard for the law, the nations who serve other gods, the nations we think that they have power over us and they have strength over us. Look at the world today. Look at these nations. These nations, the nations of the earth, for the most part, they fear America and NATO-aligned countries. Yes, they fear America and NATO-aligned countries. And they fear them because of the economic and military presence. They think if they fight against America, America will devour them based on what they have seen in history concerning this nation, concerning this wicked nation. But we ought to know that the Most High, the Creator, is in charge of all things. And He is what? He strengthens nations and weaken them. He make them alive or arise, and He make them fall. We ought to know who is the author of everything. And then we ought to know who is in complete control. This power or this source is Israel's power, the children of Israel. It's their power. And their power is giving them law that they may keep, so that they won't be able to be messed with or fought against. We ought to know this thing. Leviticus chapter 26. Verse 6. Hear what it says. I will give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall a sword go through your land. So the Creator, the Supreme Being, promised that we would have peace in the land. And no one would be able to bring fear upon us. Are we seeing that today? Are we seeing that being amongst these nations? Are we seeing the peace and security? No, we are not seeing it. Because our ancestors have violated and transgressed the law. That's why their descendants were us. We are no longer at peace. And we are not in our land as supposed to be. But the Creator, the Most High, would promise that we would have peace if we obey and come back wholeheartedly to the laws. Sword will not go through our land. So that means no nation will be able to fight against us. Verse 7. And you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. And your enemy shall fall before you by the sword. So the Creator or the Supreme Being is promising to our people that we would have the power. He was telling our ancestors that they, and I will also say the descendants, we have the power to chase our enemies and put them to flight. Or let me clarify. We would be in a place of security. And if the enemies fight against us, we will devour them. And we will also chase them. We will also literally chase them away. I showed you a video earlier with the Americans fleeing Afghanistan. These Afghanis were under the oppression of the Americans. And the Afghani people were able to overcome the Americans. The US military had to flee by night. They had to flee Afghanistan because the Afghan people overpowered them. That video that I showed you, they celebrate. This is the 3rd year. The 3rd anniversary year after they put the Americans to flight. They had to run like dogs. The dogs that they are, they had to run because they were not able to match up, or their power was limited when they fought against this Afghan power, the Afghan people and their military. Yes, I want to add, the US are very crafty in terms of propagating new scars when they lose a war or battle. They are very insecure, so they would cover it up. So you will look on news and they will show you the reasons why the US fled Afghanistan from who they refer to as Taliban. No, the real reason why they fled is because they were overwhelmed. So they had to flee like the dogs and the cowards that they are. They had to flee like dogs. So this is something that the Creator, the Most High, allow the Afghan people to overcome the Americans who are in the land. And just as the Afghan people could allow, just like the Most High, the Creator, could allow the Afghan people and their military to overcome the Americans, it's the same way that He can cause the children of Israel or YASHAREL to overcome any of their enemies, including the Americans. And the European nations who are trying to oppress us, who are oppressing us. We ought to know who our power is, and we ought to know what our power requires. In 2 Chronicles chapter 20, there was an account with Jehoshaphat when after he make an affinity with King Ahab, the worst king of Israel or YASHAREL, he allowed the people of the east to come against him. Some of you who are listening are familiar with that story or that account. And what happened? They came against him. They came against him, and Jehoshaphat, he prayed, he ordered, or he instructed that the people and himself fasted and seek the Creator, the Supreme Being. When they did so, the Spirit of the Supreme Being or the Creator came upon one of the priests, who then came to the people and told them, "You shall not be fearful, for the Creator, the Supreme Being, will fight for us in battle." And yes, the priest did so. And what happened was that when the enemies came against him, what happened was that they all fought and helped to destroy each other. So there was no need for Israel or YASHAREL to raise any hand on them. For the Creator, the Most High, allow the enemies to devour themselves. This is the power. Isaiah 54 verse 17. The Creator or the Most High had shown us something. Before I even touch upon that, in the book of the history of the time of when the Greek ruled, there was Maccabees and a few men who stand firm against the oppression of thy people. The Greeks came under Alexander the Greek and brought devastation upon Jerusalem, and even colonized them through the system. They had outlawed circumcision and even sacrificed swine on the altar. You read this in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, which the Roman Catholic Church have taken these books out of the Bible because it played a very significant role in our understanding. And when we reigned as a people, and other important information. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 shows you when they came and they invaded Jerusalem. But Maccabees and a few men separated themselves in the wilderness to observe the laws and the covenants of their ancestors. For many did adopted the ways of the Greeks who were in Jerusalem. And when they separated themselves, they came back mighty and powerful. They kept the law and they came back mighty and powerful and subdued the enemies that were in the land. Circumcised those who were not circumcised and got back total control over Jerusalem. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, 1 Maccabees chapter 2. You can find this account. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 17. The Creator have mentioned that once the children of Israel or YASHAREL observe his ways, and no weapon formed against them shall prosper. And this is the heritage. You also have to know that the Creator has not given us a spirit of fear. For he told us in Deuteronomy chapter 20, even when you go out to fight against the enemy, the priests will mention not to be fearful, for the Most High is the one that fight for us in battle. These are the laws of blessings, defense.